In today's lesson, we'll be learning how to manipulate formulas. I want you to keep these two phrases in mind as we go through today's lesson. Opposites cancel out, and what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. This is the general equation for a line, y equals mx plus b. If you recall, m represents slope, while b represents the y-intercept. Let's say we want a formula which gives us x. First of all, I want you to put yourself in the perspective of x. You'll notice that there's an m directly beside it, and there's a plus b. If you're x, what is that m doing to you? Well, that m is multiplying you. So I'm going to write that on the side. Multiply by m. Afterwards, now think about what that b is doing. Well, that b is being added to you. I'm going to write plus b right over here. At this point, think of the opposites of multiply by m and plus b. The opposite of plus b is subtract b, and the opposite of multiply by m is divide by m. BEDMAS usually goes from b all the way to s, but over here, we're going to go the reverse direction. We're going to go from s all the way to b. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract b. I'm going to write subtract b right over here. Now, what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So I'm going to squeeze in a subtract b right over there. And again, opposites cancel out. So plus b and subtract b cancel out, which leaves us with just y minus b equals mx. After subtracting b from both sides, we're now going to divide by m. So over here, I'm going to divide by m. Remember, a fraction is the same thing as division. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. Moreover, opposites cancel out, since multiply by m and divide by m are opposites. On my left, I have y minus b over m equals x. Now, since we read from left to right, let's clean this up a little bit. I'm going to rewrite this as x is equal to y minus b over m. This is the formula for area of a circle. Area is equal to pi multiplied by r squared. Let's say I want a formula for r, which is radius. First, I want you to put yourself in the perspective of r. You'll notice that there's an exponent of 2 and pi right beside it. But what are these things doing to r? Well, the 2 is squaring it, and the pi is multiplying whatever you have here. So I'm going to write that down on the side. Radius is being squared, and then you're being multiplied by pi. Now think of opposites. What is the opposite of squaring something? Well, the opposite of squaring something is square rooting it. Now, think of the opposite of multiplying by pi. The opposite of that would be dividing by pi. When using BEDMAS, we usually move from the b all the way down to the s. But today, we're going to go the opposite direction. We're going to go from s all the way back up to b, which means we're going to start by dividing by pi. Over here, I'm going to divide by pi. Remember, a fraction is the same thing as division. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. And opposites cancel out. Multiply by pi is the opposite of divide by pi. Therefore, they're going to cancel out. A over pi is going to stay the same, as well as the equal sign, and r to the power of 2 remains unchanged. The next step now is to square root. So I'm going to square root this. Now, what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So I'm going to square root all of this. And opposites cancel out. So this square root and this exponent of 2 are going to cancel out because they're opposites. That leaves me with the square root of a over pi equals r. Now, since we read from left to right, I'm going to have to clean this up. This is going to be rewritten as r is equal to the square root of a over pi.